What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. Happy draft day. Appreciate you making us a part of your start on this awesome day. Awesome day in store here. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. You got the app, download it, take it on the go. Get your smart devices, video streams also up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Oh man, what do we got on a busy Thursday? Well, gonna talk some more draft here. Now, get me your official predictions. Not what you want per se, not what you want for even if you're not a Packers fan, okay? If you're a Vikings fan, tell me which quarterback you want. Or maybe you're like, no, I don't want them to trade my 2 first-round picks. I want them to stay where they're at, and if somebody falls there, I'm good. Or maybe you're like, hey, you know what? If Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. is there at 11, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. You're a Bears fan. We know who your number one pick is going to be. What about your next one? What about number 9 if they stay there? You want defense or do you want more offense? Want another wide receiver to join up with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen? Offensive line? Packers fan, give me your prediction of what you think is going to happen. No, the majority is Cooper DeJean, but what do you think is going to happen? All right, start to hit me up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with some texts, with some predictions. Heck, even if you're not a fan of those teams and you want to give me some of your predictions, Lions fans too. Tom from across the pond, man, what do you want? What do you think your Lions are going to do? Big day yesterday for the Lions, locking up some of their guys. St. Brown got a massive contract. Sewell got a massive contract. So draft is in Detroit, and they got started off on draft eve by locking up a couple of their youngsters. So what do you got? What are some good predictions? What are some bold predictions that you want to send on over here this morning? All right. You don't want to text it. You got the video stream. You got Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. So we got plenty of draft talk coming up here. Brewers picking up a win last night as well, squeaking out a W against the Pittsburgh Pirates to avoid a sweep. This bullpen right now, you want to talk about how fantastic this bullpen has been performing for the Crew. They've been asked to do a whole lot. They've been asked to step it up and take on a little bit more. Check out this nugget. Last 12 games for this Brewers bullpen. 1.43 ERA and just over a skosh of 50 innings. That's number 1 in all of Major League Baseball. The bullpen right now that has been asked to do a lot. And a lot of pressure has been on them because of injuries and because of, well, the offense, right? The offense hasn't been putting up a ton of runs as of late, and they have been locking it down. Hudson picking up the win last night. He's 2-0, 0.68 ERA, but got to give credit to Wilson, who started off the game, pitched 4 1/3, just a couple of earned runs. Then Hudson comes in, pitches an inning and 2/3. Brewers getting it done. They'll try to split the series in just a few hours from now. I got a little bit of an earlier game. Well, a lot of people don't want to schedule against the NFL draft tonight. So Brewers will wrap up this 4-game series 11:35 first pitch today. Coverage is going to begin at about 11, right at the top there. So then they return home and get set to face the Yankees this weekend. So we're going to talk some Brewers, going to give some love to this bullpen, some of the arms that have been really stepping up so far here for the Crew. We're going to talk a little Badger hoops. Greg Gard. So Greg Gard chatted a little bit with the media talking about kind of the state of college basketball right now, NIL, transfer portal, and such, and talked about, their kind of what's in their pot, if you will, the NIL pot. And, one quote said, because it was not that long ago where Greg Gard said, they were doing really well in NIL, and then all of a sudden you got guys leaving. And a quote from him yesterday was, as we tripled, so to speak, the market grew 5 times. And he talked about how much money some of these players are getting. And kind of said this yesterday too, to a message to the fans saying, stay patient. It could be a while. So we'll make sure we continue to push forward with all the things that I've talked about, but I want to make sure we also get it right. So should we, for the last few years, we've talked about how the expectations have grown for Badger football and Badger basketball, right? Like, it's okay. At one point, it was like, cool, bowl games, conference championships, but then it kind of was like, okay, we want national championships now. And Chris McIntosh has talked about national championships. That's the goal. And fans' expectations and that has gotten bigger. But do we need to take a step back, given everything that's kind of transpired the last couple of years, and maybe kind of slow our roll a little bit when it comes to the expectations for both these teams? You got the Big Ten that's expanding and such. Do we need to lower the expectations at least, maybe for the now and for the next couple of years? I don't know. What do you think? Do we lower that so maybe we don't have or we get too disappointed and such with the whole NIL stuff? Unless they get just a massive amount of funds to come through. We're gonna hit that up and talk about that coming up a little bit later on. But speaking of the NIL, WIAA, Wisconsin High School, voting down the proposal, the amendment to allow high school athletes in Wisconsin to benefit from NIL. However, it's honestly it's going to come at some point. It's going to come at some point. It's not going to happen now, right now, at this point in time. If it would have passed yesterday, would have been in play already. What was it, end of May that they were going to put it in place? So it's going to happen eventually here. So, but for right now, it's not in the cards for the immediate future. So, but yeah, we'll talk a little NIL and all that fun stuff again there. Got a little receiver defer action coming at you about an hour and a half from now, about 7:40, 7:45. If you got any good receiver defers that you want to pass along, you can do so as well. We got some outdoor tidbits with DNR Ward and Jake Bolks coming up at about 8:30. So if you got any questions for Jake too, make sure you make sure you pass those along. Easiest, quickest way to do that is hitting us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. All right. So that's the easiest way to do it. And could do it at a time so I can get those to Jake too. So as you can tell, hoops wise, we know the Bucks aren't in action tonight. They're getting ready for their game tomorrow and such. But last night, the NBA playoffs, Heat taking game 2 to even up that series with Boston. So a little bit of an upset there. OKC getting the job done last night to go up 2-0 in their series. So we do have some games on the docket tonight. Cleveland, Orlando, New York, Philly, Denver, and Los Angeles. Cleveland, New York, and Denver all up 2-0, looking to go up 3-0, commanding 3-0 lead. Those other teams will try to make it a little bit of a series. Stanley Cup wise, Boston defeating Toronto to take a 2-1 lead. Vegas defeating Dallas to take a 2-0 lead. And then the Kings defeating Edmonton in overtime. That series is now tied at one apiece. And you got a couple of them tonight. You've got Florida taking on Tampa Bay. Florida leads that series 2-0, and Carolina's visiting the Islanders. Carolina leading that series 2-0. So Florida and Carolina looking to go up 3-0 in their respective series as well. So let's get things here this morning. All right, let's talk a little football. Prediction time, baby. Try to give me your prediction what you think is going to happen. All right. Try to give me your prediction what you think is going to happen for your favorite team, or if you want to throw some other teams out there that you want to give some predictions to. All right. Let me know what you think. Try to get in the minds of the general managers, not necessarily what you want. I guess you could throw in what you want to. You can make it a double up. Here's what I want. Here's what I think is actually going to happen. So let me know about that. All right. Go over some of the latest rumors, rumblings, smoke screens or not, all that fun stuff. Happy draft day, everybody. We already got, what is it, Tom from across the pond already saying roof is going to be blown off as the Lions get Sewell and St. Brown to announce the first pick after yesterday. Nice. Tom, what's your predictions? What's your predictions right now for your team? All right. What do you got for me, Tom? What do you think's going to happen with your Lions with your pick? And what do you want to happen? Rest of you, let me know too. We'll take that first break. We'll get things rolling on this Thursday morning. Thirsty Thursday action too. Quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Are you looking to get your name out in the public eye more? Do you need some apparel, some drinkware, maybe some signage done? Whatever marketing materials you may be looking for, Resonance Branding Company has a wide range of items to help make your brand stand out from the competition. All your branding needs in one convenient place. Resonance is here to save you time, money, and headaches, and also set you up with an online store if you want to sell some of your items too. So let me simply ask you, does your brand resonate? Resonance Branding Company is the official swag provider for the program and the Man Cave podcast. Got a hat. Currently wearing one right now. If you're watching the video stream from Resonance, that one is also available in our swag cave. If you want the link to the swag cave, let me know and I'll text it to you. Otherwise, it's up on the Twitter profile. And if you go check out the Man Cave podcast, that link is in the podcast description over there too. So, all right, happy draft day, everybody. Your predictions on what you think is going to happen today for your favorite team, whether you think it's for the Packers, or maybe you're a Vikings fan or a Bears fan or a Lions fan. Our good buddy Tom, our resident Lions fan, saying out there, I'm hoping they grab a corner, whether they trade up or stay at 29, or an edge to go opposite of Hutchinson. Also hoping the Vikings waste their 2 first-rounders and trade up for J.J. McCarthy. A couple more of you, obviously, Cooper DeJean is the popular one, the very popular one out there for a lot of you. That's where you're going with some of your picks. Some of you going with some offensive linemen, Guyton, Mims thrown out there. You've got Nate Wiggins as a corner. You've got McKinstry as a corner. That's from John. You've got Dave that went with Nate Wiggins at corner. I'm not even going to say all of you that have said Cooper DeJean, and we've got a few of you going at offensive line as well. So thanks for getting into draft mode by wearing Lion stuff there, their intern, Tom from across the ponds. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Kansas City had the draft last year.
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Detroit's got it this year.
Yeah.
I'm just getting an early start.
Oh. How come the other teams that had them never won it then?
Well, this is a new tradition.
Oh, okay. So that means Green Bay's winning it in a couple years.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Interesting. All right. Did you get a haircut there too, all of them?
Oh, a long time ago.
No, it wasn't last week you did.
Yeah, a week ago today, as a matter of fact.
Okay, well, last time I saw you was a week ago today.
Yeah,
so.
last time I saw you, I had long hair.
Look at that.
Over my collar and everything else.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Boy, exciting times today. This is a draft that is, in our part of the country, I think it's more exciting than others because it affects teams in the Central, the Bears and the Vikings, or the North, I'm sorry.
You still got old school.
I'm still old school, but it's but the Vikings and the Bears. The Bears, I don't think there's a lot of drama to what they're going to do, but the Vikings, it could be very interesting what they do, and of course, it'd probably be right up until that pick is made, whether or not they're going to move up or not.
Yeah, those teams in front of them, it's a bunch of business decisions right now, and I don't blame them. Like Arizona or New England, wait till the last minute, see if somebody gets a little desperate and throws a little bit extra picks or coin into the pot there. So take advantage of that.
Well, the Vikings, they got Sam Darnold or somebody like that to play quarterback. They've got to have some help. So they're going to give up some draft choices to move up. If they don't, I'd be shocked. And so would Justin Jefferson, I'm sure, be shocked as well. I think they've got to move up. The talk is J.J. McCarthy, but I don't know. I'm not sure. He's one of those guys that had an awfully good team around him. He reminded me that, like some of these guys that have won Super Bowls because they had good defenses. And I don't know. The Vikings don't have that great a defense, but it'll be interesting. I think everybody assumes that they are going to try at least and move up. And, some of these teams they know the Vikings need a quarterback. So they're going to try and hold them up for a lot of picks.
Yep.
And I don't blame them. That's the way the business works.
Definitely. It's a business, no doubt about it. So and I like it too from the Packers standpoint. There's a few different options they could go to. So I'm just
absolutely.
kind of
you think this has never been talked about, and I was just thinking about it this morning, as driving in thinking about the draft. Is there a real specific need that the Packers have? I'm still not. The receivers they've got are good, but I'm just not confident about their health and the fact that they're going to be available for Jordan Love on a consistent enough basis. And so, would they ever move up and try and get one of these premier receivers, top 3 or 4 receivers in the draft? Nobody talks about it.
I think there's a bigger need at offensive line than
I do.
wide
Well, I do
receiver
too. I do too. But I'm just, this is off the wall stuff. I'm just.
Oh, you're off the wall, all right.
I'm just thinking of, in a dream scenario to have Marvin Harrison Jr. or Rome.
Wouldn't that be ironic too for all the years that Packers fans have complained about not getting a wide receiver and all that? So,
but anyway, at this point in time, it's all a dream.
Uh-huh.
And reality will set in as the picks go off the board. These guys go off the board. Well, there's one we're not going to get. There's another one we're not going to get.
Yeah.
And the thing is that this could be good for the Packers with all these teams that need quarterbacks. There are 5 or 6 quarterbacks taken before them in the first round. That leaves an awful lot of good position players available.
Goody's got to be hoping that, some of the rumors or rumblings out there that Michael Penix goes in the top 20, that Bo Nix goes in the top 20, because you're right. We know those 4 other quarterbacks are going to go before Green Bay goes. So, yeah, those 2 guys or those 2 quarterbacks that go up there, that just pushes everybody else back for Green Bay, whether that's the fan favorite, Cooper DeJean, that majority of Packers fans want out there.
I don't think he's going to be around that late, though. But again, like you said, with the quarterbacks, that many quarterbacks going. Who knows?
If you look at a lot of the mocks, it's anywhere from 16 to 30. Cooper DeJean, a lot of people, and that's a wide range right there.
Yeah, it is.
But we'll see.
The only problem is the last time we took a defensive back from Iowa, it cost us J.J. Watt, and he didn't play worth a darn. And
J.J. Watt.
Or T.J. Watt.
That's different.
Oh, that was King.
Yep.
Well, we drafted
Josh
the quarterback
Jackson.
from Iowa, Jackson.
In the second round,
and he just didn't turn out to be much at all.
Right. No.
Unfortunately,
no.
I don't even think he's in the league anymore.
No, I don't
think so. But this Cooper DeJean is getting an awful lot of pub. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, and I'm kind of getting ready if he is on the board when the Packers pick and they don't pick him for tomorrow, and all the angry Packers fans that'll be out there.
I'd be surprised if he's on the board, but stranger things have happened.
Aaron
Rodgers was still on the board when they were down that far.
Yep. That's why we love the draft, right? You don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah, it'll be fun to see how Detroit hosts the draft and how they, welcome people into the city and how they do it. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And then Green Bay will officially be on the clock after that. So
yep.
I'm already trying to find a locale. We got the hotels, but now we're looking at some venues to do the shows from for that week. So
yeah, that'd be nice to find one.
Don't know if I want to do it at a pub that early.
Yeah, that's true.
That might be a long week.
Yeah, it'd be a long week, that's for sure.
Yep. So,
I heard you on. I was driving around yesterday. I heard you on Bill Michaels later in the day, about 11:30 yesterday morning, with your expertise on the draft. How much time? Hope the boss isn't listening. How much time do you figure you spend on this?
On the draft?
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing.
I know it is.
So a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope she's not listening. It helps though that the significant other is very into it too.
But
so,
you got to be conversant in who the players are and what their expectations are as positioned in the draft and things. I'm just wondering because you talk about it expertly.
Well, I probably sounded like an idiot yesterday.
No, you sounded good.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, you sounded good.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, it's good, but I mean, it's one of those things that, you look at the highlight of the year on the sports calendar and, as far as football, the Super Bowl, but I'd say the draft has more interest than the championship games.
Oh, yeah, conference championships.
Yeah, because the draft features every team, not just 4. So I think the draft is duly noted that it takes time to brush up on who's available and who needs who and all that stuff.
I think the main reason why I like it, because I get this question a lot, like, why is it your favorite, one of your favorite sports events. I think I like it because I try to figure out what teams want to do. You're almost playing that general manager type of role.
And that's tough when there's how many teams in the league? 32? 32, yeah. That's
7 rounds and 250 some picks.
And some teams are so off the wall you can't figure them out anyway, but you try and do it. Where does this rank? Where does the draft rank for you versus preseason football?
Draft would be above preseason football.
But how much?
Let's go. Because you get to see those young guys play in preseason. So there you go. See if you're my undrafted rookie free agent of the preseason pick and all that stuff. So,
well, that's true.
But no, I like it just because I like the intrigue of what's, you try to get into the minds and you try to figure out because this is a full-time job for a lot of those scouts who are, on the road how many times, and this is where they make their money.
Just think how much Mel Kiper has made over. It's all he does.
Yeah.
All year long is work on the draft and watch these players on film and whatever.
Yep.
He made a career out of this.
Yeah. So I like it from the intrigue of that standpoint of like, I try to figure out I'm curious to see what teams and how they view about building teams, because we think we know what they should do. And then a lot of times it's the opposite.
Let me ask you this. We know the Bears, what they're going to do. They're going to take Caleb
with their
Williams.
first pick.
They're at number 9 too.
Yep.
So who knows? I don't know what they're going to do there. And the Vikings need a quarter. What about the Lions? The Lions have been quiet. They re-signed their big tackle
and wide out yesterday.
To St. John or St. Brown.
St. Brown.
And what else are they looking at?
Well, our resident Lions fan from across the pond over there, Tom, chimed in this morning or afternoon over there, whatever it may be.
It's afternoon.
Is it afternoon? He's hoping for a corner or an edge rusher to go opposite of Hutchinson over there. So I did see some offensive line mock draft picks over there too. So
when are they going to start looking for a quarterback? Jared Goff isn't getting any younger because he came out same time
as Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and
that was the last time the Rams had a first-round pick. This is the first year that they have a first-round pick since they drafted Jared Goff. Think about that.
Yeah, that's a while back.
Because they've traded everything.
Yeah, they traded everything, and now they are getting a draft pick. But I don't know if the Lions might be down the line picking up some kind of a quarterback for reserve duty. I don't know. But
they've been talked about the last couple of years, and they just never have. Which a credit to them, they've stayed with their game plan, and right now they're in a decent shape.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
So
they got some good players on that roster.
And I remember last year when they picked up Gibbs in the first round, that was met with like a lot of wow, that was way too early for him, and he helped out the team this year. That's another example of like we don't know anything like those teams do. So yeah, they just. Oh man, I would love one of my bucket list items. I would love to sit in a draft room.
Wouldn't that be something?
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of see how are the flows, the phone calls, some of the conversations that go on, and just be a fly on the wall.
The only draft room I never would want to sit in was when Belichick ran the Patriots, because he did it at his kitchen table with his dog.
That COVID year, yeah.
But being like in the Cowboys with Jerry Jones and as hyper as he is.
And it looks so awkward when they have the camera on.
Yeah.
Like it's got like this, it looks like King Arthur's table or something like that. And you got Mike McCarthy on one side, then Jerry Jones' kid on the other, and it's like, and it's a dark room, and I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. Then you look at Green Bay's, and it looks like they've got 25 people running around in there.
Well, they probably do, but they're staying on top of it, and hopefully, how many we got 9 picks of Packers, and so that'll be
11.
11
tied for the most. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You think they'll stay that way, or they'll trade a bunch to move up? I think they're gonna load up on offensive linemen after 4, 5, 6 rounds like that, and defensive backs. They're gonna get a lot of bodies in there.
Goody mentioned was it Monday, Tuesday, his pre-draft presser. He wouldn't mind having a couple more and having like 13 or 14 picks. So he has, as he said, more at bats to get a hit, but I think a lot of people assume that. But he also says, they've got some lack of a better phrase, ammo to move up if they wanted to as well. So I really don't know where. I think it's just going to depend on how the board falls.
Yeah,
to
and
be honest.
because he wants a safety. We need a safety, so you're always going to draft 2 or 3 safeties. I would be surprised if he didn't. 2 or 3 offensive linemen, some help on the defense front 7, I would assume. So, there's some ways to go if they draft offensive receivers, because I think he's comfortable with his tight end crew right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the wide receiver, Watson, can he stay healthy? He's got
Stokes even too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need some backup there at wide receiver too.
So yeah, there's they could go a bunch of different ways. Maybe, and even probably maybe a quicker running back. To add it. I mean, Jacobs is a big guy. Dillon, we know, is a big guy. Maybe a little bit of a speedster, one of their younger Aaron Jones version, if you will.
Yeah, and I would like to find somebody even faster than Aaron Jones.
Yep.
I would really like to have some speed on that team, because that's one thing that we just never seem to get. Is there a hidden Tyreek Hill out there, or Deebo Samuel, or somebody like that out there?
I have him as in my mock, the running back from Tennessee, Jalen Wright, who's the fastest running back in the draft, but also one of the better pass catching running backs too.
Perfect.
So that would add another element.
What's his projection?
Could be like second round, early second round in there. So running backs, there really isn't any mock to go in the first round this year. There's just not a ton. Braylon Allen, I'm really curious to see where he goes.
It will be interesting. A lot of people are saying he came out too early.
Mm-hmm. And that's he played 3 years of college ball, played at Wisconsin with running back but I still go, that age thing to me is intriguing. Do a lot of the league teams look at that like, okay, yeah, running backs, we know their shelf lives are short, but this is a younger running back who's already got 3 years of college
and
play
also,
on there.
These scouts, they don't just look at that player; they look at the team he played on, and the offensive line at Wisconsin when he played those 3 years was not good.
Mm-hmm.
It was not up to speed of a normal Wisconsin offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just weren't good, and so I don't know if any offensive linemen from Wisconsin are
Bortolini's.
Bortolini was about the good one, but there's not going to be abundance of offensive linemen from Wisconsin drafted.
No, and even Bortolini's day 3 probably.
Yeah,
maybe a 4th round, maybe squeaks into day 2 at the back end there.
Yeah.
So
but you got to look at that, and I think too that he might get upgraded a little bit because he didn't run behind a good offensive line. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see where he goes in this whole thing. Just and what team he goes to.
Yeah.
Dallas needs one.
Well, they're talking about bringing
Zeke Elliott's coming back.
Is he coming back?
They talked yesterday.
Yeah, I know they talked about bringing him back. But just think how much money he's got to defer or take away from what he thought he would be signing for.
Yeah, well, he did sign that big one with the Cowboys, and Cowboys probably regretting that at that point.
And you can bet it's not going to be a duplicate contract from that.
No, not at all. So, but all right, keep your picks good. We got a lot of them. I mean, they're all across the board here too, and that's the one thing too. Like the last few years, I think we kind of banged the table on a certain position. It was either like 1 or 2. This year, it's, as you mentioned, could go offensive line, could go defensive back, could go defensive line, could go, does a wide receiver fall or whatever? I'm just going to wait and see. And I don't think I'll be too upset regard what they pick.
No, I don't think we will either. I think a lot of people are calm, Packer fans, because of Jordan Love and the way he came around this year.
And do we trust Goody? Do we finally trust Goody?
I do now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I admit I didn't earlier. Mm-hmm. I wasn't happy with his picks earlier, but I think I trust him now. I think I'm calmer because of Jordan Love proved that he is a major league quarterback. I think a lot of other guys proved that they were major league players. Some of these wide receivers when they were healthy, the tight ends when they were healthy. I want to see our what's his name from Iowa last year?
Van Ness.
Van Ness, thank you. I want to see him step it up, and I want to see both he and Rashad Gary. Those two guys have all the talent in the world. And that's why I'm so excited or hopeful, I don't know what's the right word, of this new defensive coordinator coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Turn these guys loose.
Yep.
I don't think they were turned loose. And you don't get drafted number 1 by an NFL team that does all that research, well, then you got to think about Tony Mandrich. But you throw that one out, and a few defensive linemen you throw out. But basically, when you draft a guy number one, he's got talent enough to play. It's just what's, in his helmet. Because his physical talent is obviously there.
Right.
Can he adapt to that program? And that's why I'm excited about this defensive coordinator coming in there, turning those two guys loose.
Yep.
And I think that'll make Kenny Clark as good as Kenny Clark is. I think it'll make him better.
Yep.
And what's his name? The other guy from that they drafted out of Georgia?
Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt. How can you remember all these names like that? My goodness. I know who they are, but I can't remember the names all the time. But I think, there's potential here with this defensive coordinator. I think without a lot of changes in personnel, I think this defense can get a lot better. Even number 7, what's his name?
Quay Walker.
I'll stump you one of these days. Quay Walker. I've been kind of disappointed in him. To me, he's come out like A.J. Hawk, not fast enough to keep up with the running back or the tight end on pass coverage, and run to the wrong hole on run coverage. So I'm just hoping that with a new defensive scheme that these guys will all live up to their draft rankings, because obviously they're good players. It just, somebody has to find a way to get more out of them.
To tap that potential,
yep.
that ability out of them. And, we've talked about that a lot of times, and it's still one of my frustrations that I don't quite understand. I don't know if it's ego at some points, but why coaches sometimes don't look at what they got and be like, okay, let's adjust here a little bit. It may not be what I want to do, but this is what this guy does the best. Put a guy in a position to succeed, because it just makes sense. You put a guy in a position that he does best, you would think that would benefit the whole group. I don't know, but it's just that's a thing that frustrates me when you find these play callers sometimes, or coaches that sometimes, if whether it's ego or hard-headedness or whatever, that just won't adapt.
And I think that translates to baseball, what Murphy's doing with the Brewers right now. As successful as Counsell was, he had Woodruff, he had Corbin Burns, he had, pitchers that were healthy, but Murphy doesn't have that, and he's starting relievers. He's hitting and running and everything else. He's in first place in the division.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long season if the arms don't get healthy. I mean, you can only juggle it so much. But so far, he's adapting to his talent, and that's what we hope the Packers will do on the defensive side of the ball especially. And, these guys can step it up a little bit with a little different scheme, a little more opportunity for them to not freelance, but show off their talents.
Yep. I agree. All right, let's take a quick break here. Then we're going to finish up the first hour. We got Brewers chat coming up here. You want to know a little nugget on how well these Brewers are? This Brewers bullpen is pitching right now. They are lights out, baby, in their last 12 games. Get this, last 12 games, the Brewers, this bullpen, 1.43 ERA in just over 50 innings pitched. That's number 1 in Major League Baseball. So, but keep your predictions coming for the NFL draft. What do you think your favorite team is going to do? What do you think the NFC North is going to do? A lot of intrigue surrounding the North in this draft. You got the Vikings and Bears both with 2 first-round picks. Bears have the number 1 overall. We know where that's going. They also got another top 10. Where's that going? Are the Vikings going to trade up and try to get that quarterback? Lions, a division winner last year. What are they going to do? And, of course, what will the green and gold do? We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Speaking of Mike's Star Market, Saturday they've got a cool event going on. They're going to do a race car show and farmers markets on Saturday at their location. So stop on by and see all the different race cars that Mike's Star Market sponsors. Also, they'll have a farmers market going on. Plus, the Mike's Star Market skinless wieners for just $2. If you purchase that, $1 from each of those is going to go help fund Backyard Dreams. So a big thanks to Mike's Star Market for always being a big time supporter for Backyard Dreams. That's coming up this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. This Saturday. Looks like it goes from 10 to 2. So coming up next hour, we'll save some of the Brewers chat coming up next hour. But I'm sure you already heard it, intern. The NIL for the WIAA did not pass.
I heard that.
Vote, so.
And I was talking, just the other day, I was talking to an area high school principal. I said, is that coming? He said, yeah. He said, it may not make it this time, but it's here.
Yeah, it's in, Stephanie Hauser in that interview that we were talking about last week said, even if it didn't pass, they were going to change it and keep bringing it up. So eventually it's going to be here.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, it did not pass yesterday through the vote. So probably be some adjustments in the language or whatever. And
how is that going to work for high school? I'm just thinking, like, if a high school kid, well, for lack of a better, Eau Claire Memorial, he was really a good player. So is he going to make T-shirts and sell them at school? Is he going to get a job promoting cars for Eau Claire Ford, or what? Where is the NIL coming from? Or, and if not, they've got booster clubs, but the booster clubs don't raise money to pay kids to play. And I can't, if I'm a booster club member, that's not where I want my money to go for, because you got to spend a lot of money buying uniforms and things like that. So I guess I'm not sure how this is really going to work. Some other ritzier places that have private schools with a lot of dollars given to them, they probably have money, but I don't know where some of these public schools are going to get NIL funds. On how this is going to work. It'll be interesting to follow it.
The WIA posted yesterday this constitutional amendment would have allowed student athletes to enter into name, image, and likeness opportunities for those activities not associated with their school team, school conference, or the WIAA, which we kind of mentioned. They can't, like, say there's a photo shoot or whatever, can't wear your basketball, football jersey or whatever. So, but yeah, eventually it's going to come, whether it be the next vote, whenever that is, or next year, a couple of years. But
so with a kid, he can't wear the school uniform, but could you have a uniform or a shirt made up Eau Claire Memorial and be in a commercial?
You can't have the school name on there.
You can't have the school name. It can't be not just the school, the official uniform of the school. It can't be. Okay.
Yep. So could have like your picture on it if you decided to sign somebody or something like that. So, but it'll come. We're going to talk a little bit more NIL with regarding the Badgers. Greg Gard chatted a little bit yesterday, kind of gave us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what's going on with the NIL in terms of the Badgers and such. So we know Chucky Hepburn, leaving probably for it's money. It's
Has he got a home yet?
I have not seen a home yet, but it's, and at that point, I kind of wonder. I think we are going to see players like a Chucky Hepburn at that level who we know they're not going to go to the NBA, right? They may go overseas, but at a certain point in their college careers, do they okay, for my final year, I might go somewhere so I can get some extra coin. You know what I mean? Like, where they take advantage of that with the NIL. Because was it Jim Polzine that we talked about last Friday? There was an Iowa guard that got about $500,000, and I'm blanking on the name right now. But as Jim Polzine said, Chucky Hepburn's a similar type player and talent-wise, so kind of use that base $500,000 for Chucky Hepburn.
You got $250 last year in Madison.
So, I mean, that's a big boost for a guy who probably knows he's not going to the NBA. If he wants to continue basketball, it's going to have to be overseas. Cash in now while he still can.
Yeah, and again, you can't blame the kids.
Yep.
Can't blame the kids. They're like these golfers and live. You can't blame them. Money talks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say. BS but money moves the needle.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, but some interesting comments from Greg Gard yesterday. We're going to get to that coming up in the next hour as well. So, but it looked like, at least from a lot of people who at least chimed in, whether it was on our socials or text, that they were happy to see that this didn't pass yesterday. But again, caution you, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, it
It'll
is.
be here. So.
And it'll be interesting to see how it works, and who's figured out an angle. There's somebody. Can these kids hire agents? Obviously, they can hire an agent. If you
Well,
can
and
do
that's
this,
like,
can't you? I don't know.
I would have to wonder, because if you're under 18, I mean, you still need a lot of parent consents
Yeah,
for
yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff. So that has to be involved in it, I
yeah.
would
And in
think.
high school, most of the kids are under 18,
Right. I
unless
mean,
they're stars in the classroom like you were, and maybe had to spend little extra time.
extra time in the classroom. Yeah, I probably needed it.
but
So.
but there are just, I don't know, it just so many cans. Every time you think about it, something different pops into your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So.
a lot of the things that pop into my mind about this aren't all that positive.
Mm-hmm. So. All right. Coming up next hour, we're gonna talk some more Brewers. Talk about this bullpen that has been, even without Devin Williams, as of late, has been pretty darn dominant, and they've been asked to do a lot. They've been asked to step it up, and boy, have they been doing it so far, especially with the offense, kind of in a little bit of a rut right now, as of late. But the Brewers getting it done yesterday, 3-2 victory. Just a few hours from now, first pitch 11:35 today, as they wrap up this 4-game series for the Pirates. They will try to get that win and split the series. So we'll talk some Brewers coming up shortly past 7 o'clock. We'll get to that Badger chat with Greg Garden and such. NBA playoffs also continuing. Bucks will be back at it tomorrow for Game 3, but the Heat were able to steal a game in Boston last night.
Boy, oh boy, what a surprise that was.
They were raining the threes.
Oh, they
Holy
were. Tyler
moly.
Hero made about 6 or 7 of them. And yeah, and boy, were the Celtics frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were more frustrated, at least they showed it, than the Bucks against Indiana the night before.
Yeah.
The Celtics really, really frustrated over the performance last night.
Indiana, I think, kind of was it Doc Rivers was kind of talking about it after Game 2. Indiana's doing the old like little talk here or there, trying to get in the head of these players and trying to frustrate them. And Doc even admitted it kind of got to those players on the other night in Game 2. Frustration's boiling because they're doing a little chirping or being a little physical and all that. And that's what Indiana does. That's why everybody says this was a rivalry brewing in the regular season, and we kind of got that a little bit of a taste in Game 2. So we'll see about Giannis. I know the Bucks are doing like a pep rally today for fans as they fly off to Indiana. But anybody wondering about Giannis, I haven't seen any latest updates whether he's going to play. I don't think he'll play Game 3.
What in the world? What's this calf strain? What is this?
It's calf strain.
I know, but I mean, did he pull something and has to go back, or is it just a strain? I would think a strain with all the medical equipment and
soft tissue. Those soft tissues are tricky.
Yeah, they are.
And then he was also dealing with Achilles tendonitis too, so being a little extra cautious with that. Remember a few years ago with calf strain, and then you got Kevin Durant. Remember that? Then he tore his Achilles when he tried playing on that. So, but all right, one in. We got a couple more to go. News updates. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of April 25th. Appreciate you all tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. Let's chat some Brewers to open up this second hour here. But keep your draft predictions coming, all right? Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912.
What time do you figure the Packers will be making their pick? It's still, 7 o'clock?
7. If they stay at 25, like 10.
Really? Oh,
so it'll be a long night for me. And Hudson wants to watch it. So we'll see.
So what does the boss say about that?
Well, he's actually, he doesn't have to go to school as early tomorrow because it's a VIP day. So she gets to hang out with him at school.
Oh,
because usually he has like daycare before school.
Sure.
So he gets to go like an hour later. We'll see how practice goes tonight first. He's got Little League practice tonight.
Oh, good for him.
And then we got to book it back home in time for the draft. So I said, we're not screwing around afterwards. We're not getting ice cream or anything like that. We're back home right away, sir. So, so keep those picks coming. By the way, this is not a cheese blazer. This is an official Packers blazer, everybody. Got a couple people saying cheese. This I got from the pro shop. So if you go to a game, remember those people that would help hold or line up for the introductions? They'd wear these.
Yep.
That's what this is. It was the best $50 I've ever spent.
How much?
50. That's it.
That's a deal.
I know.
I was going to have, my question was, how much did they hold you up for that?
$50. There was a rack there. I'm like, sign me up, man.
Whoa, good deal.
I actually bought it when I went to Favre's Hall of Fame ceremony when they had that big ordeal.
Sure.
It was like 100 degrees, and I'm like, I'm going to wear this. That lasted 5 minutes in that weather.
Good looking jacket.
It's got
for
the logos on the
$50,
inside.
It looks even better.
Probably the nicest jacket I have, to be honest with you.
So,
you got to dress up for draft day. So, let's talk some Brewers though. I want to play this clip. So, even though the Brewers won yesterday, Pat Murphy, as we know, he's again he's a little bit more open than Greg Counsell.
You think so?
I love this clip. So, I'll just play it, but a reporter was asking essentially about the offense and, how he can – I'll just play it here a little bit. So this was from Pat Murphy's presser after the game last night.
Yeah.
So he was just like, unacceptable going on. It's kind of freezing up here. He's like, who could we have featured tonight? The only guy that was Contreras. And then, a little bit later on, he was there was towards the end of the game in the ninth, there was a drop ball between Weimer and Willie Adames with a pop up.
I saw that.
Yeah, and
that was a Little League play.
Pat Murphy after the game said Willie did everything right there. Weimer let it drop. It's his error, unacceptable. He's holding guys accountable lot this year.
Yeah, he called it like it was. It was Weimer's fault.
Yep, and I know. He was talking about DL Hall earlier this week after his start on Saturday. He's on the IL now, but DL Hall, who's been struggling, going only 3 1/3, and Pat Murphy said after that game, it's unacceptable just to go 3 1/3. He's holding guys accountable at this point. He's even in front of the media. He's holding guys accountable, which I think is a little bit different than what we've seen under Craig Counsell.
Yeah, just a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I it's working, isn't it? I mean, this team's in first place.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's a different manager than Counsell. He's got a different team.
Yeah,
than Counsell had. Counsell had some arms. He's doing this without arms.
And I thought it was, talking about Blake Perkins. We mentioned this a little bit earlier this week too. He even said too, when Blake Perkins first came to the team, he was a bench coach. He wasn't a Blake Perkins fan. He said this in the media. It's like, I wasn't a fan of his. Now I love the guy. But I, as a fan, I appreciate more of this because it's more open and honesty, and it's not the typical coach, general manager speak that we get 9 times out of 10 with these guys.
Yeah, as a fan, you watch that play, with Weimer coming in, and that's a Little League play. Somebody screws up like that. In the major leagues, you work that out. And he said it, unacceptable.
Yep. And I think he's got to. is it fair to say he's got to be a little more tough because of the youth on the team? Does that make sense? Like holding guys a little bit more accountable. I'm like, if you want to play at the big leagues, we wear caps and sleeves at this level, son. But it's a movie quote there.
I guess I don't know.
Or is that just his personality?
If he's got to be tougher, but I think he's matter of fact. He's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's unacceptable. Weimer is a major league player. If you're going to be a major league player, you don't make plays like that in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he's. I don't know if I'd call it holding him accountable, but I think he's telling him, "You're a major leaguer. You play to a major league standard, and what you did is not acceptable."
Yep.
You know, I don't think he's really, calling him out. I mean, I'm sure Weimer said, "What about that play?"
It's not manufactured, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if they had Weimer in there and they asked him about that play, he'd probably say, "I screwed up. It was unacceptable." It wasn't a good play.
The bullpen has been used quite a bit, no duh, right? So far this year. But this number right here, just how good they have been, even without Devin Williams. 50 and a third innings pitched in the last 12 games, and they've posted just a 1.43 ERA. That is tops in all of Major League Baseball right now. So the bullpen has been asked to carry the load a little bit more because of injuries, but also because of, the offense not putting up a bunch of runs in these last 2 games. And this bullpen has accepted that challenge, let's say, and exceeded those expectations.
Yeah, the bullpen's very acceptable, that's for sure. And I haven't really watched. Is Yelich playing?
He's not playing yet. He did. He was on the field. Was it yesterday or the day before? Somebody said, and he was doing some workout. So it sounds like getting closer.
Which is unfortunate because he really started out the year.
He's playing well,
hitting very, very well, and I'm hoping this doesn't, have some kind of an adverse effect where he's kind of hitching in his swing or something like that, trying to protect an injury. That doesn't bode well. So he's got to be healed, and he's got to go full speed ahead because, let's face it, he was starting out to have one of his better years again.
Oh, no doubt. The power was there, OPS, the average, everything was definitely up there. And right now, that bat would be a welcomed addition to this offensive lineup right now. I mean, everybody but Contreras is and Blake Perkins is still getting up there too, but Contreras is just continuing to be Mr. Consistent.
Where's Santiago, the guy that used to play for what's his name? Guy that played for the Yankees. He was their catcher for a while.
Sanchez.
Yeah,
okay. He hit a home run 2 nights ago.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he hit a homer, but the way Contreras is playing right now, you don't want to get him out of that
lineup.
Oh,
no. But as far as a DH or something like that, you want this guy to contribute because, boy, when he was, I don't know, in his heyday with the Yankees, I don't think he's that old that he shouldn't have more heydays ahead of him. But he was very productive with the bat.
Yeah. So the Brewers will try to split the series today, 11:35. So just a few hours. Just a few hours from now, Freddie Peralta is slated to get the start. I was kind of hoping we'd get to see Freddie tomorrow against the Yankees, but injuries and all that, what can you do at this point? So, but Freddie will get the start today to try to get this split for the Crew. And it's going to be an interesting series coming up, not to look too far ahead, but coming up this weekend against the Yankees with that offense and the way Soto's playing and
Stanton's hitting the ball hard too.
So this pitching staff, whether it's the bullpen or starters for the Brewers, are really going to be tested as they finish off this month of April with a pretty darn good offense with the Yankees coming to town too, in that controlled environment.
Yeah, and was down there last year when the Yankees came to town, or a year before, whenever it was, when Judge was hitting so many home runs. I think I saw him, hit 58 and 59 in Milwaukee. He does it so easy, so big and strong. He just flips his wrist and he catches it right on the bat. It's gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't swing hard.
No. It's kind of like an Ernie Els golf swing, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Good analogy.
See Aaron Boone get ejected the other day?
Yeah, from a fan. Because the umpire, that was...
Yeah, Boone was chatting, and the umpire said one more. Then some fan yelled something and thought it was Boone and kicked him out.
Yeah,
reminds me when I argue with Hudson sometimes.
I'm surprised they didn't overrule that.
I know,
because that was BS.
Yeah,
that shouldn't have happened. Boone's been thrown out of plenty of games, but he didn't deserve that one.
No. I loved his reaction. It was like immediate, like
What
hands
did
up
I
and
do?
everything and all that. So, but yeah, Boone's he's getting close to having a top 5 list of ejections out there you could probably put together for him. So,
Well, it means he's had a long career as a manager too.
yeah, or there's been a lot of frustrating moments as a
Yeah.
manager too. So, but Brewers, again, 11:35 first pitch. Coverage is going to begin at about 11 today here. So we'll make our pick coming up a little bit later on this morning, about 8:40 with our picks and predicts coming up here. By the way, Twins will try to go for the sweep, and they weren't playing great baseball, but they got the White Sox at the right time. So
Is the White Sox franchise the worst in Major League Baseball right now? I mean, they just can't win for losing.
no,
They're really struggling. They have the past couple of years. What, 3-4 years ago?
I might put the Marlins worse right now, but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but boy, oh boy, the White Sox maybe say the White Sox most disappointing. They've had some talent on that team over the past few years, and they just have not done anything.
Yeah, Tony La Russa tried, and
Yeah.
was that a few years ago, a couple of years
He
ago,
came
and
back, didn't work.
Nope. They had I'm blanking on that guy's manager right before, but then they replaced him, who was doing a good job for Tony La Russa, and that didn't really work out either. So, but all right, let's take a quick break and let's talk some Badger hoops. Greg Gard chatted a little bit yesterday talking about NIL and kind of the funds and all that sort of stuff. And he had an interesting quote that I want to get your reaction from, Badger fans. Okay, I want to get your reaction from. Kind of told Badger fans to stay patient. Stay patient. So the question that I'm going to ask to you all, do we kind of have to lower expectations when it comes to Badger football and Badger basketball, at least for the next couple years, next few years here? We'll go into some of the stuff that Greg Gard had to say yesterday. But quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Turkey hunters, listen up. If you're having any luck out there, make sure you send us your photos so we can put them up on the Tilden Gun Trophy board on our website. Just click on the Outdoors tab when you visit sportstalk1051.com. You can check out all the photos up there already. Big thanks to everybody who's sent over photos. And if you still got maybe a few weeks before you can head out to the woods or the fields for your turkey hunting, and maybe you still need that new shotgun, or maybe you're getting ready for deer hunting, go visit our friends at Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun, you can also check out their website, tildengun.com. Biggest selection, best prices in the Chippewa Valley, and fantastic customer service from Sean and Hunter over there. All right. So Greg Gard yesterday, it might have been a couple days ago, but this was from the Wisconsin State Journal. You can check it out, masson.com here too. But Greg Gard was chatting a little bit with the media, and he kind of said something that you said a little bit earlier. He was talking about Chucky Hepburn and some of these players, kind of cashing in for the NIL. He said, this was from Greg Gard, quote, "If anybody in their right mind told any of you guys or gals that you could go triple your income by taking a different job, you'd do it in a heartbeat," Gard said to a gathered reporters ahead of the this was actually a while ago from the postseason reception. No questions asked. So Greg Gard said about Chucky Hepburn that this is more of a business now. And because of that, everything has changed. And it was a couple weeks ago that Greg Gard had told a radio show that their NIL actually got, the fund, or the pot, if you will, got a big boost. And it was shortly after that, all these guys started to enter the transfer portal, like AJ Storr and now Chucky Hepburn. And Gard said, as we tripled, so to speak, the market grew 5 times. To kind of put it in a little bit of perspective, Gard also admitted recruiting has become most about how much NIL money can be offered. That complicates things, even with recruiting high school players, pitching a 4-year vision. The Badgers still do, Gard said, but they also have to address the transfer portal and the new world that high school recruits are stepping into. Gard acknowledged the adjustment has to begin internally. He said he has considered changing the title and the responsibilities of the vacated director of recruiting and scouting role, alluding to more creativity in terms of how he defines the other assistant role opening. And in recruiting, Gard said special assistant to the head coach Kirk Penny has opened, he's now been promoted to a full-time assistant, has opened some doors internationally that the Badgers are looking at extensively. Plus, the Badgers, quote, don't want to ignore high school players in addition to trying to build through the transfer portal. Greg Gard's message to fans right now, stay patient. It could be a while, so we'll make sure we continue to push forward with all the things that I've talked about, but I want to make sure we also get it right. So, the last couple of years, whether it's been football or basketball, a lot of Badger fans have had an increase in expectations. Chris McIntosh has talked about competing for national championships. Should we lower the expectations at least right now until maybe they get more NIL money or stuff like that?
I was going to say, until you can get more money. I mean, you can't compete with Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, some of those schools. They've got infinite amounts of money.
Mm-hmm. And you add in the new schools that are coming into the Big Ten, tougher competition, if you will, until Wisconsin gets a Jerry Jones that's willing to donate a bunch of cash to his alma mater like he is with Arkansas right now. I mean, should we have those lower expectations for football and basketball?
I think you have to, because and still in all, you've got to do it right. You look at Boone Pickens. Remember the oil guy that gave so much to Oklahoma State?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been good, but they haven't been on the brink of winning anything. Yeah. You go out to Oregon, and Phil Knight from Nike, Oregon got a lot of, they got about 40 different jersey selections, this, that, and the other thing. They've been good, but they haven't won anything. Mm-hmm. So, you got to be able to use that money as well. And it's a tough nut to crack. And I'd ask Gard, how has your recruiting, if at all, changed? Because you used to go into a high school kid's living room with his folks and say, we'll get you a good education, we get 4 years of dependability here and this, that, and anything. You got to change that message.
Mm-hmm.
We've got money for you. We'll get you started on your education. Education is not a part of the equation anymore. Let's face it. It's not. AJ Store, you were telling me, you told us
it's like
here a couple
7
weeks
different
ago,
schools now in a row.
Yeah, 7 different schools and 7 years of competing in high school and now 3 years of college. You'll have 7 different schools. Education isn't important to him.
Nope.
And for a lot of these guys, it's not about the education. It's about how much money I can make in college. And if that's their mindset, that's fine. You're not going to change it. But for a kid that wants to go to a school that maybe, he's a good player, but he might want to go to medical school or dental school or engineering school or someplace like that, all of a sudden, it's not so important anymore. It's a different world out there. It really is. I don't envy these guys recruiting, because I'd like to ask Guard how his message to these student athletes in high school or even transfer portal kids, how much does the education factor play a part now versus money and your ability to move and all this other stuff? I'm sure they don't want to admit that they have to talk about that, but they do, or they're not going to get these kids interested.
Or even relationships with the coaching staff. In recruiting, you hear a lot of these guys that have come to know these assistants for a couple years at some points, and that comfortability factor, that money talks, right? That changes.
But you can't tell me AJ Store has any kind of relationship with any coaching staff.
No.
His relationship is with his checkbook. He wants money. And, fine, good for him. But that's how this thing is changing. You're not recruiting kids to college to get an education anymore. They're no longer student athletes. They're athletes. And I don't even know if you can say athletes/students. They've got to go to class to remain eligible. I know that. But some of these kids never show up on campus. They do everything remote by the computer now. They don't ever go to class.
Well, I saw Dion's kid went to an in-person class for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're not even going to class.
Yeah.
So it's not a student athlete anymore. That's a misnomer. It's an athlete playing for money and just happened to wear a Wisconsin or USC or whatever uniform it is. They're not students anymore.
Yeah.
Not that level. I mean, there are a bunch of them that do go for the education.
Not what we grew up with, essentially.
Yeah, it's just a different world now. It's not what we were used to.
A couple more notes here. Badgers made projections last year about the amount they'd have to their NIL funding to prepare for the 20 to 25 season, but the market for player compensation grew well beyond theirs or any estimation. Guard said the Badgers are in a good place from an NIL fundraising standpoint, but some of the amounts he has seen that players have received are, quote, astronomical. Guard said the Badgers need to operate fiscally responsible because decisions with the money they have this year could impact the amount they'll be able to give next year. The Badgers don't possess a, quote, bottomless well, he said.
I wonder if the NCAA can they get these numbers from schools of how much money these different, like Duke for basketball, how much money, because they always, I don't care if it's Krzyzewski or Shire, the new coach. I don't care who the coach is. Before you went there because of Krzyzewski. Shire hasn't won anything yet, but he must have a lot of money. I mean, he's living off the Duke reputation. If he's not, that helps, no question about it. But he's got to have a pot of money. You look at Houston was ranked in the top 1, 2, 3 all year long. They're coming back. All of a sudden, 2 or 3 guys on that team are leaving. They're not leaving because they're going to a better team. They're leaving because they're getting more money. Because there aren't many teams better than Houston in the NCAA. Let's face it. So it's a money game. They're not student athletes at that level anymore.
Right. Well, it's like, again, Arkansas, the example. Jerry Jones, the rumor is that he's putting a bunch of money in for NIL to his alma mater.
Well, I'm sure he is.
There.
And, as long as it's legal, I have no problem with that. Dump it in there.
And that's the luxury for that university to have somebody like Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
As an alum.
And Madison has, a lot of people that are given nice checks to the university, to the athletic department. But I don't know.
Does it change, though, too, like in some terms? So people who do donate to these universities, back then you would donate to maybe help repair a building or
Or
donate,
build a
building, or to a department. Now it's like, hey, but we need money to pay players. So does that it's got to affect academics in some ways too for situations like that, I would imagine, where now that money's being taken away from them because maybe that donor wants to funnel it to make sure a player stays on a basketball team.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do that or not. If they do, I don't know if they can do that outside the university. In other words, Chucky Hepburn, we'll use him as an example. If somebody wanted to keep Chucky Hepburn at Wisconsin, say somebody in Madison, a car dealer or whatever, it's got a lot of money, would went to Chucky Hepburn and say, we'll give you $500,000. You be our spokesperson, and this is your NIL from us, not even taking it through the university. I don't know if that's legal or not, or if that's being done.
I believe it is. I believe it. It's like an endorsement, sort of thing.
But it doesn't have to clear through the university as part of the funding. Because does that count as part of the university's NIL money? Because that money never goes to the university. It goes right from the sponsor or whoever it is to the athlete, not through the university athletic department.
I don't think it has to go through the university because I think, was it a couple of years ago the Joe Thomas barbecue shop had like all the offensive linemen they endorsed. Well, Buffalo Wild Wings a couple of years ago endorsed one of the basketball players, St. Peter's, when they made that run, and that. So, he got all that money there too. So
it's the wild, wild west.
Oh gosh. And like we've said how many times, you can't put that can back on that can of worms right now, or that lid back on that can of worms right now, because you could try to limit it, but there's going to be
somebody's going to take you to
stuff and all this. And I don't know how you can rein it in at this point. That's where I fear, is it getting to a little bit like Major League Baseball now, where Major League Baseball doesn't have the salary caps. So you got certain teams that are just willing to do whatever.
$700 million.
Like, are the Badgers kind of like the Brewers now, where, you heard, all right, now they're looking internationally for some players and trying to open doors there, where it's kind of like the Brewers are like, okay, we got to figure out different ways how we can compete too. I don't know what you do at this point.
I don't either. And, fans are demanding success. Let's face it. Fans weren't happy with his basketball team from the University of Wisconsin this year. I mean, I don't know anybody that thought Wisconsin was going to beat James Madison in the tournament. And that's frustrating. You don't want to be able to go into a tournament and say, well, we're one and done. We haven't got a chance. It turned out that was the way it went. But I don't know. I just think, too, and then filtering all the way down to the high schools, I think a lot of people, myself included, are concerned that athletics, that athletics is now the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah. So, I think you got to lower the expectations, as much as I hate to say it, but I think for right now, you kind of have to for basketball and football. Tougher competition is coming in, but tough competition because they've got a little bit more money. USC, Oregon, Nike. I mean, for crying out loud. UCLA, I'm sure, that stuff in there too. But
and how far will this trickle down to the high schools? You go to some of these high school parking lots 10 years from now, and half the cars in there are Mercedes and Corvettes, and they belong to students. I can see that happening.
Maybe. So, all right, let's do some receiver defer, shall we? To wrap up the second hour.
All right, we can do that.
We'll do that there too. So, quick break, but keep your predictions coming with the draft. We've got a few more to get to. Hit us up with a text, 715-830-1912. Even if you're not a Packers fan, maybe you're a Vikings fan, or if you want to make some predictions for the NFC North, go ahead and do so all across the board. It's going to be an interesting night for the NFC North, with the Vikings currently holding on to 2 picks in the first round. We know the Bears have 2 in the top 10. We know the first one. And, of course, Packers at 25 and the Lions at the back end of the first round. We'll take a quick break and be back to finish up the second hour after these quick words. Hey, if you're looking for a quick meal tonight, as you sit down and watch the draft or get ready for the draft, it's Bob's favorite night at Hy-Vee Steak Nights over there.
Oh, Thursday night.
Thursday night steak night at our good friends at Hy-Vee. So, need something quick or don't even want to mess with cooking something?
You don't even have to go in the store. The grill's outside, 66 and sunny today. Go over there, get it in a takeout box, go home, or go inside and eat, watch the draft right in there in the bar area.
While you have a Man Cave Light on
You
tap
bet.
over
There
there,
you go.
too. So,
Good stuff.
Yep, steak nights tonight at Hy-Vee. Take advantage of that.
Potatoes,
Amazing
vegetables,
deal.
green beans.
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely, man. So
The only thing I do when I go over there, and I don't blame them. They give you plastic utensils. So I take my own steak knife.
nice. Nice. Let's also we got some outdoor tidbits coming up at 8:30. So last call for any questions for Mr. Jake Bolks, our Wisconsin DNR warden buddy. He'll be hopping on at 8:30 this morning. So text your questions over.
He's not coming in live today?
Not today.
Oh, and I had this pie. Oh, that's too bad.
You can tell him that. So yeah.
Well, that's too bad. All right.
Text us your questions for Jake 715-830-1912. All right, Your Honor. Let's start off with some receiver defer. We'll let you go first.
Receive or defer. Doc Rivers will be gone if the Bucks lose to the Pacers with or without Giannis.
Defer. They're not going to pay three coaches money. They're still paying Budenholzer. They're still paying Adrian Griffin, and they're paying a lot to Doc, so he'll be back next year.
You don't think winning is more important?
I think they're going to give him an entire offseason and open up next year
All right.
for that.
Oh, good.
I'll bet G-Man's 401k on that with you.
Oh, I don't.
And Marty Green's.
I don't have that. Oh, man, then I know I don't have that kind of money. Did McIntosh make a mistake extending guard through 2029?
No, I think those are just formalities at that point. I mean, the women's basketball coach got extended too.
So well, women's basketball coach is only a year or so in it.
A couple of years into it, but at those point I don't pay too much attention to college contract extensions because I think they're formalities at that point. I mean, a lot of those guys get what Nick Saban I think was signed through 2040 something or something like that. It's just
but he quit.
Right, but I'm saying that's why I think extensions don't really mean anything a whole lot anymore to me when it comes to college.
Well, I think it depends on how they leave. If he's asked to leave versus I'm retiring, I've had enough of this, I think there might be a difference. But
because Paul Chris was extended right before he got fired too. So
well, that's true.
So,
but I mean, it's not like extension shows the kid that your coach is going to be there. Because who cares? The kids don't care anymore.
Yeah, kids don't care anymore. So,
but anyway, that's all I got.
I think it's more budgety type of things. Who knows?
It might be.
That's all you got. Well, that's all I got. You got draft on your mind?
I got the draft.
I thought you were going to throw a Scotty Scheffler thing in there after his win.
I did have something about is golf receiver defer? Is golf the PGA Tour? As much as I like Scotty Scheffler, is in trouble with a face of golf having Scotty Scheffler being that face. He's pretty vanilla. I mean, Rory McIlroy, Rory McIlroy, was, I watched 2014 PGA when he won that 24th major before he was 25. Hadn't won one since. He was the face of golf at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger, of course, has been the face of golf since the 1990s, but is the PGA is professional golf and who in live would be the face of golf. Golf is getting back into one of those situations where they better be careful. There is no face of golf. I mean, you had Arnie and Jack and Gary Player, Tiger Woods. Then you had Phil Mickelson in there as well. Phil Mickelson is gone as far as he's a walking dead man as far as golf fans are concerned. Mm-hmm. And Rory McIlroy has not played all that well for the last 10 years. So is golf in trouble with Scotty Scheffler being the face of the golf? As much as I like watching Scotty Scheffler and appreciate his talent, there's not much there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not trying to criticize.
No, it's like, who is that next Tiger in terms of like the personality, the flair, and all that stuff. it's kind of like that gap between, and there really wasn't. I mean, you feel bad like Kobe was kind of in between the Jordan and the LeBron era, where I feel like he'll almost now you look at it and it's like, dude was a lot better than maybe what I gave him credit for at that point. But he kind of got. I think if he was like in an era where he was almost by himself, he'd get more attention or more talk. You know what I mean? Trying to sort of, and these guys are still playing under the Tiger shadow. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm sure you saw this, but the PGA, tour, they handed out bonuses, loyalty bonuses. Tiger got $100 million. The guy's not even in contention anymore, and he got $100 million for staying loyal to the PGA. Rory got $50 million just for staying loyal.
If either one of those guys leaves, the PGA is dead.
Oh yeah. But do you think Tiger? I don't think Tiger would leave.
No, I don't think he would either.
But it's just like that's how much Tiger still means to the PGA. They're paying him $100 million just to like stay here. It was kind of reminded me of like when the whole Favre thing was going with Green Bay, where they offered him $20 million marketing deal to stay retired. But
well, the ratings for the Masters were way down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what does that say? The Masters is probably the most watched golf tournament. You got the U.S. Open and the British Open, and the PGA is, PGA to me, if they're going to stick with four majors, I think the players should be a major more than the PGA.
And Wisconsin isn't getting anything anytime soon.
Oh no, not at all. We're done.
We're
done hosting majors.
Yeah, they just well, they gave another one. Was it in 2036? I think I saw the other day.
Yeah.
And Open or nothing. U.S. Open. Which stinks because Wisconsin is a top. I mean, Golf Digest did the rankings. Number 1, Wisconsin for courses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's no reason you can't play a golf tournament in May.
No.
In Wisconsin, the weather is good. I mean, we're going to be 66 and sunny today, and this is still April. You get into the middle of May when they're going to be playing that tournament, and the weather is awfully good around our part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's one reason that my golf enthusiasm is down as well.
Yep.
Is the way Wisconsin is being treated.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the redhead stepchild.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Some other notable players on here too. $30 million for Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, while $75 million is targeted to go to notable retired players. Interesting. So is that like Jack?
I don't know.
Trying to think of some other notable retired players.
Are they talking about retired or guys
like
playing
Champions
on the
Tour?
Champions Tour, or guys that are completely out of golf all together?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. Champions, so like Vijay Singh or Steve Stricker even or something like that.
But Tom Watson.
Yeah. Gary Player.
Yeah.
Still out there. Yeah. So
I don't know how they're going to do that or what they considered retired. One more. Discussion was receiver defer. When you consider I'm going a completely different way now here. Receiver defer, when you consider all aspects of the game, it only strengthens the argument that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Versus because, LeBron doesn't play defense.
No.
And Jordan was all-pro defensive player of the year, always made the all-pro defensive team. Mm-hmm. Does that strengthen his argument that he is the GOAT? I think it does.
I upset a few people when I said this a couple weeks ago. I think what strengthens Jordan's argument is that I don't see Jordan. I wouldn't ever see his team being in a play-in series for the postseason like LeBron's Lakers have been the last couple of years.
No, he wouldn't put up with that.
You know what I mean? Like, yep, it's LeBron and Anthony. I mean, they got talent on there, right? I could never envision Jordan being in a play-in series.
Well, and LeBron's brought that on himself. Mm-hmm. Who beat him the other night? What's his name from Denver?
Are you talking when Jamal Murray hit that shot at the end?
Well, he played with the Lakers. Wasn't he the guy that played with the Lakers? There's a guy on the Denver team now that, I don't know, he scored about 30 points. He was with the Lakers just a year or two ago. Because of salary cap, they had to let him go. They couldn't give him a big enough contract. Well, that's one of those things. LeBron isn't win first, to me. As great a talent as he is, and I think he's probably number 2 all time, but he's not a win first guy. He's me first guy, and he's given a lot of his money away. I'm not he sponsors a whole school in Akron, Ohio, pays college education money for all these kids, and he's a great, great humanitarian as far as that goes. But it's he's wants to win first. I think it's Murray that plays with Dallas or Denver now that beat him the other night, but he's a former Laker.
Jamal Murray, he hit that shot. I didn't know if he was a former Laker or not. I'll have to double check that over there.
That's what they said on the broadcast.
Jordan's the GOAT for me, even though I was not a fan of his as a kid, as you all know. So that's just because he beat the crap out of my teams. So no, Murray was drafted by Denver in 2016.
Well, there was somebody that played well for Denver the other night that was a Laker.
I think it might have been Pope.
I don't know.
Contavious Caldwell Pope. Might have been. I'll double check.
But anyway, I think the argument strengthens for Jordan as the GOAT when you throw in defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Pope. He played 4 seasons there for the Lakers, 17 to 21, 2017 to 2021.
Okay.
So
he played a nice game the other night. I pointed that out. So that's all I have.
Receiver to Fur, I'll ask you, do the Bucks win game 3?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Win game 4?
Nope.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I think they're done.
Really?
Without Giannis, they don't have the toughness. They don't.
What if Giannis plays in game 4 but not game 3?
Well, then I think they got a chance.
Okay.
But without Giannis, I don't see this team, the way they got beat the other night. And I know this changes. You look at them the next night, they don't look like the same team they had before. Now, whether Doc Rivers can jack these guys up or if they're embarrassed by the way they played the other night, let Indiana take it to them. If they're going to change their attitude, who knows? But based on that performance the other night, I don't see how they can win it without Giannis.
It's young versus, Indiana, what they want to do is it goes against the weakness of this team too, with that transition offense where they just want to run up and down the court. And my biggest worry is if it's close, like it was in game 2, when you get to the fourth quarter, are those vets for the Bucks going to have their legs underneath them? Indiana can run all day if they wanted to.
And they got up in their face and the Bucks didn't react.
And that's where I feel like the Bucks have to do what they did in game 1 and jump out to that huge lead, first half and have that cushion over there. And that's where I get nervous. If it is close in the fourth, are the Bucks going to have enough left in the tank because they are the oldest team in the league right now.
Yeah.
The Bucks are by average age. So,
well, they threw it all into the pot for this year to win a championship, and it hasn't panned out. Some of the moves that they made weren't the best moves.
Mm-hmm. So, but I think they'll lose game 3, but I think they win game 4. This is going 6 or 7. I think it goes 6 or 7. So, receive or defer. The Packers make a trade at 2 nights. Whether to move up or move back, don't matter.
Boy, and it's going to depend on how the board falls, but I'd say they're going to make a trade. Yeah.
You think they're going to make one?
Yep. If some of these guys that we've been talking about are gone, I think they'll circle the wagons and go back and take another look at what's available on the board. And, they might, like you said earlier, they got 11. He wants to have 13 or 14.
Gosh, you know what? I think they move up. I think they move up a couple spots. Not a lot. I'm talking like 2 or 3. Look at Miami at number 21. Miami only has 4 or 5 picks in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Team like that where they just move up 4 spots potentially and only maybe give up a 3rd round.
Could make a difference in the player available.
So I will go bold prediction. They trade with Miami. How about that?
I don't know who they're going to trade with.
I'll even put a team out there because I don't think Goody isn't going to trade to get in the top 15 or 10. That's too rich for his blood.
Yeah.
Unless, like he said the other day, it was for a quarterback or something like that. I say he trades with Miami. Miami picks up an extra day 2 pick.
Does he think his wide receiver core is elite enough at this point, or might he look and say, we need to get one of those 4 guys?
You know what? He never did it before, so
I know he hasn't. But
I wouldn't.
But he didn't
that.
have. He had Aaron Rodgers, who made everybody look good. Jordan Love came in and played beyond even his expectations, I think. So is that blinding him to the issue?
I don't really think there is an issue, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm just talking about the health of these guys. I mean,
Mhm.
Watson, how many games did Watson play last year? And I'm just thinking to have, if you're going to have somebody in there as a substitute to take over these guys, why not make it a good one, a really good one?
I think they're good right now. So,
All right, if they stay healthy, I agree with you.
mhm.
If they don't
I
stay
mean,
healthy, I don't agree with you.
Watson wasn't healthy last year, and Love still finished top 5 in passing yards and touchdowns. I think he was number 2 in passing touchdown. I like they spread the ball around more. So,
Well, they do. There's no
yeah.
question. They got a couple of tight ends that show that they can really play.
I think next year's draft is going to be the one where you start to see some more receivers
Now,
picked for
that's
Green
probably
Bay,
true. Yeah.
because then you got contracts coming up for
Yeah.
some of those other guys. So, all right,
That's why you're the guru, not me.
That's right. That reason alone. All right, quick break. We'll be back for the final hour after these news updates. Third hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning, day one of the NFL draft coming at you tonight, 7 p.m. It'll all start. We know the first pick already, though. Caleb Williams, Chicago. That's unless there's going to be a big surprise out there. But it's going to be an interesting night nonetheless. And for the NFC North, you got the Bears with 2 top 10 picks. You got Minnesota with 2 first-round picks. Will they package those and try to move up and get their quarterback of the future? And how high can they move up? What are they all going to have to give up to move up? You got Detroit at the back end of the first round. Draft is in Detroit. And Green Bay with 11 picks in this draft, tied for the most. Will they package some of those and move up, or could they move back and even get some more picks? Will the draft crush for many Packers fans out there, Cooper DeJean, will he be there at 25? Will Green Bay trade up to try to get him? What are your predictions? Anybody got any bold predictions they want to pass along as well? Hit me up with those texts, 715-830-1912. Comment on the video stream if you'd like, or hit me up on Twitter and Facebook. You got some other final mock drafts that are dropping this morning from NFL analysts and pundits out there, and there's more Cooper DeJean picks that are being mocked to Green Bay. So Packers fans who really, really, really want Cooper DeJean, you're probably seeing all these mock drafts that are coming out there and seeing Cooper getting mocked there and probably getting some hope up, getting excited for that possibility. Who was the last player? Think about going back to some of the drafts. Who was your last draft crush that actually got drafted by your team? Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be in the first round, but who was like that last draft crush for you that your team actually drafted? Like actually went out there and got the guy that you were hoping that they were going to go out there and get. Anybody got one off the top of their head that they want to pass along? Hit me up 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line there. So looking back at some more predictions, again, Cooper is the big one out there for a lot of Packers fans. We've got Tyler Guyton, a couple of those offensive linemen from Oklahoma, Marius Mims, offensive line from Georgia. Also a couple of picks from some of you on the texting line there. So it looks like the majority of you going right now with either offensive line or Cooper. Got a couple of corners mixed in there, McKinstry and Nate Wiggins over there too. So if anybody's got any bold predictions they want to share with the rest of the class, please go ahead and do so. All right, pass that along. I'm up for a good bold prediction if you got one. So let's go. Yeah, we got all right. Cooper Cooper is the big one. Cooper is the big one over there. What else do we got here? We're gonna get back to some more Brewers chat coming up here too. Brewers, we're gonna try to split this series just a few hours from now. First pitch at 11:35 in Pittsburgh before the Crew return home and get set for the Yankees. Freddie Peralta is going to get the start for the Brewers. This bullpen has been lights out right now for the Crew. If you miss these numbers, just on how well that the bullpen has been playing so far for the Brewers, check this out. In the last 50 and a third innings, all right, 50 and a third innings, that's 12 games. So the last 12 games, they've pitched over 50 innings, 1.43 ERA in Major League Baseball. That is tops in Major League Baseball. What were you doing? Goofing around out there in the front or something?
I had some personal issues to take care of.
Oh, okay.
And I must say, I feel a lot better now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, bold prediction from Surveyor Sam: Minnesota will not draft a first-round quarterback and ride with Sam Darnold this season.
Who's that?
That's from Surveyor Sam. That they will not draft.
I don't know what he's smoking, but
well, I asked for some bold predictions, so that's a bold prediction.
That's a real
prediction.
bold prediction.
Yeah,
he's obviously not a Viking fan.
Yeah, so No, he's not.
I would
Surveyor's
be I would be shocked if the Vikings didn't draft a quarterback. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a bold prediction.
This is interesting text. Don't you think the Badgers should recruit kids that want to play fundamental basketball? They are so far removed from Ryan's discipline. Guard needs to work a lot harder to get players to stay and play for the Badgers. Not a great developer, needs to be fired. How much is that NIL though? I mean,
well, the first part of that. Read the first part of that again.
Recruit kids that want to play fundamental basketball.
Doesn't put you in the NCAA tournament. You don't get in the NCAA tournament. You aren't going to be around long. You don't have a program that's going to be followed by anybody. You just can't do that. You got to recruit kids that can play the game.
Yeah, that's games change. I don't think you like Bo Ryan style would not work.
Oh,
in
not
today's
even
game.
close. No,
It would not.
Well, when Bo, everybody said Bo Ryan style. When Bo Ryan had those good teams, he did not play the kind of system that he grew up playing. He changed the system to fit those players, and he had Frank and Kaminsky and all those guys. They didn't play traditional Bo Ryan basketball. Bo Ryan changed to fit that team that had a lot of talent.
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
They were. I was going to say they were a little bit more of a faster paced offense with that Final Four and championship team too.
And that's the thing that bothers me about Guard. He doesn't adapt to the situation. And I've said this before against James Madison. He had no business playing man-to-man against that team.
Mm-hmm.
They were so much quicker. You play a zone, but we don't play a zone. We're a man-to-man defense. Well, you don't win that way. If you can't adjust, you can't win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just back screens, went to the basket, layups. They just outran Wisconsin and they were just too quick. And that's why I say you got to have a coach that's adaptable, and at Wisconsin, you're not going to get the Kentucky type teams or the Duke type of athletes. So you got to be really, really, those teams can dictate the type of play, teams from North Carolina, Arkansas, Alabama, some of those teams, but Wisconsin doesn't get that kind of kid.
No.
And you've got to be able to adapt your coaching style, and Guard proved to me that he can't.
I think there's something the texter saying, developer, yes, he could get better at that adapting, but the recruiting of kids that want to play fundamental, I just think that's.
Well, you bring them in there and after 2 or 3 years, they really get good.
Then they leave.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like the Franks now, I don't think those guys are around anymore that would stay 4 or 5 years or whatever, or would be patient.
And that brings me to the point that what's more important to these kids, receiver to fur, what's more important to these kids in college now? The money or winning the championship?
Money.
There you go. So what does that tell you about what kind of kid you got to recruit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. UConn is the best fundamental team and demands the buy-in. Hurley's teams are really sound. UConn basketball versus Wisconsin basketball. I think there's a little bit more money going into that program.
Well, there's no question about it.
It's
Connecticut.
Whether we like it or not, NIL is a now huge factor in college sports.
And Connecticut is one of the richest states in the country.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of living there is extremely high.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money out there.
Mm-hmm. Don't like it, but that's the times.
And that's why I say, I don't know if the NCAA, and I don't know how much of a reaching for a number to the stars it is to try and pin down NIL money for these how much did NIL money go to the Connecticut players this year versus Wisconsin players or Duke players or North Carolina players versus Wisconsin, even Purdue and some of these other teams. Where do we rank as far as NIL money going to players actually?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's available or if it's in the public. I would think it would be in the public domain. It would have to be, wouldn't it? I don't know, but I would like to see those numbers.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. That's a good project for you to Google in your in your downtime over there. So
I don't know if I could Google, NIL money for Connecticut basketball.
I would be curious to see like the NIL for UConn basketball, because you got the girls program women's program that's just fantastic and long for a long time, and now the men's one's been back-to-back champions. So like that split with that, how that goes. So
be interesting to see what's going on, but NIL has changed it, and I would assume that Gino Oriama out there at Connecticut, the women's team, is probably feeling that crunch. All of a sudden, what's South Carolina using for NIL? What's LSU using for NIL for their women's team? Even Iowa now.
I was going to ask Iowa, yeah.
Caitlin Clark has changed the landscape down there. Are they going to be able to sustain excellence?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to lower my expectations here for a little bit, but I think you have to.
Yeah,
until
you do.
it gets more of a fund.
Yeah, Wisconsin is not on the same playing field, or same court, I should say, with some of these other programs.
So we had another texter said, I would set my money on fire before I donated it to school for 19-year-olds to continue to play basketball.
Well, that's why a lot of people feel. That's why I say, and then how about donating to a high school for a 16-year-old kid to play basketball or football or whatever the case may be?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? For example, okay, North is a tradition of excellence in baseball over the past 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
How much NIL money do they have to maybe recruit kids from other towns that are really good basketball players or baseball players to play on a North baseball team? I don't think there's a lot of NIL money out there for that.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it so uneven.
Yeah. So, we got Plain T with a quick text over here. He's got his bold prediction for the Pack as Jared Varese, the edge rusher. By the way, Jake is not able to hop on. He's got apparently he forgot teacher conferences this morning with the kiddos. So, But if you have any questions, I could text him over. He said he would answer them. He's not able to hop on.
All right.
Now. So
sounds good.
If you do have a question for Jake,
I'll eat the pie myself.
I already told him that too. So, but so if you do have any, Jake won't be on, but I will pass those along, and he will answer those for you. So, I don't know what you're talking about, C-Bomb, on the video stream. The draft darling that was passed on by Ted Thompson was TJ. I don't know where that came from, but
the what?
I don't know. He's like, I could tell you the draft darling that was passed on by Ted Thompson. It was TJ Watt. Yeah, but I don't know where that was just a random comment over there from C-Bomb.
Well, that's, Ted Thompson's biggest blunder. He wouldn't take Wisconsin players, and he, instead of taking TJ Watt, he took, who did he take?
Kevin King.
Kevin King, yeah.
No, I know. I don't know where that.
And then he took the other Wisconsin linebacker, Beagle, or what was his name?
Vince Beagle.
And how that turned out.
No, I just don't know where that was a random drop from C-Bomb, who probably wasn't even paying attention to what we were talking about. Let's be real. So, couple more picks here. Yeah, Cooper. I mean, you got your NFL draft analysts that are dropping their final mocks this morning, and you got more picks to Cooper going to Green Bay, which I'm sorry, it means
be around.
Apparently, a lot of these experts think they are. He's going to be, which probably means though everybody's picking it, so it's not going to happen. Let's just
yeah, I think he's going to go a little higher than that.
I don't know, but who was the last draft crush that you had that your team actually picked? Draft expert Bob Bosold here. I was trying to think of who was the last player that was actually picked by Green Bay that I was like, oh yeah, I want that. And they actually because I'm setting myself up. I would love Cooper DeJean, but maybe I'm just like, I'm putting up that shield. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up because it probably won't happen. Odds are it might not happen.
Yeah,
so I was trying to think of that last one that actually was there.
I don't know. Because it's been a long time since the Packers have drafted really high. Mm-hmm. And so, when it gets down to where they are right now, it's who's still available. Is somebody going to fall? Like I said earlier, like when Rodgers fell, nobody at that time thought, oh goodness, we got Rodgers. We were all hoping for that. Nobody said that. So I don't know.
I went golfing. I was upset.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. And I was wrong. So,
and I don't know who,
and I was wrong about Jordan Love. I'll admit that too.
Oh yeah. We all admit that. But I don't know who the player is. I don't think there's a turnaround player for the Packers. I think they need a package. I want to see what would be good for me, and not necessarily a particular name, but offensive lineman defensive back. Cooper DeJean would be that guy, and somebody on the defensive front seven someplace. That would be, for me, if we could get those in a package and more than one offensive lineman, that to me would be a successful draft, not just one player.
I almost feel like the picks that were kind of like mocked to Green Bay that actually happened most popular, maybe AJ Hawk with that top 5, because I think AJ Hawk was talked about a lot as being that pick for Green Bay at that point. You could say whether it worked or not, but in a mock, that was the popular one over there. And then maybe Clinton Dix, because that was also a year too where that you knew they needed a safety, and there was a safety there, and that was a popular pick there too. But other than that, I mean, there's I'm grasping here.
I don't have a name, but we talked about this earlier too. I would like to see him get a burner, a guy that can really run.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy that I'd like to see him draft.
Yeah. I think a lot of people too, you know, when we were earlier this week, we were asking for predictions. A lot of people said they're going to trade out of the first round. And I feel like a lot of Packers fans feel like they do that. They've done it twice only since 2005. So, and those were both Ted Thompson. One, the aforementioned TJ Watt and Kevin King. The other one, that one worked out. They traded out. It was a 2008 draft. They traded out, and their first pick in the second round was a dude named Jordy Nelson.
That worked.
That one worked. But I feel like if you say that only happened twice, I feel like Packers fans almost feel like that happens almost every other year. They trade like it's like, but it's not.
No, I haven't observed that so much, but I know a lot of fans have.
Right. You know, it's like, oh, they're probably, you know, like tonight. Well, I'm going to stay up, but they're probably going to try out of the first, and I stay up. I hear that almost every year when they draft towards the end. And really, they've only done it twice. Goody's never done it, and he's only drafted since 18, but he's never done it. So,
and I think some teams that are, you know, really up, San Francisco, maybe Kansas City, a few teams like that have a good, strong roster already. If they trade out, because they're down at the bottom anyway, if they trade out to get more picks in the second, third, fourth round, that's where they strengthen their team, because by that time, is a game breaker going to be there, either on either side of the ball? Chances are no. But, you know, sometimes you find that diamond in the rough, because a lot of these guys that turn out to be all pros and everything else, they weren't top 5, top 6 guys in the draft.
So I like day 2 the most. Round 2 and 3, Friday is going to be my favorite day.
Yeah, that's when they really come up with some good names.
I like day 2. One that it's more picks and all that in there too, but that's
faster too. It goes fast. You don't have to listen to the talking heads all the time.
Well, it's like tonight. It's like we know Caleb Williams is going to be the pick, but we're going to have to sit there for 15 minutes.
Yep.
And they're going to talk about it, and then they're going to talk about it more after that.
Yep.
And
they're going to talk
it's just
to him.
like, yeah.
What are your thoughts? Well, I'm excited. I'm ready to get to Chicago. I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to make Chicago Bears a winning team. I am so thankful to my savior and my family and my coaches, and they say the same thing, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm not criticizing or anything like that, but you know what the script is.
Yeah. It's just that's the frustrating part for me. It's like, in a world that we seem to want sports to get it going, baseball, right? You know, all this basketball. And I get the NFL can kind of like do whatever the heck they want, and we eat it up with a spoon. They can draw that out. It'd probably go to 1 a.m. and we're still watching it, you know, because our favorite team still got a draft. Or
I wonder how much money they make on this, and how much they talk about the spots that are sold in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wonder how much the commercials are in the draft. Because again, Super Bowl but this draft, they get millions and millions and millions of people watching that too. So I don't know how much they charge for these spots in the NFL draft.
And it's probably a little different because it's on multiple stations too. So you got ESPN's coverage, and you got NFL Network's coverage. And I think ABC is going to be on there too. So it's not like one network where
ABC and ESPN are together.
Right. But then you got the NFL Network that has theirs.
But still, in all, they want to get eyes, and this brings them eyes. That's for sure. So I would think that the commercials aren't going to be cheap, and it's going to be interesting. I would like to see how much they do pay for commercials to be on it, especially, and what the number changes from day one to day two back to the third day, because you watch the crowd. Tonight they're going to be just nuts, and they're going to be crowded. Tomorrow it's going to be a lot the same, but not the intensity. By the third day, it's diehards.
Yep. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and we'll have some more. Let's get back to some baseball talk here too. Brewers back at it today to try to split this series against the Pirates before they get back home and get set for the Yankees. So we'll hit that up. We'll throw a little hoops chat in here too, even though the Bucks don't play until tomorrow. Quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Sign-ups continue for the Casper Classic. Early bird pricing still available for just a couple more weeks there. So if you want to get your team in, or you want to get a sponsor team in, hit me up with that. But if you just want to sign your 2-person team up, just go to sportstalk1051.com and get those, or get your team signed up just for $90. It's on Friday, August 2nd, helping to benefit our charity Backyard Dreams over there. Want to give big thanks Princeton Valley for hosting us again this year. Hy-Vee is going to be providing the lunch again. Carpet City Flooring Center, other sponsors, Carpet City Flooring Center on there. We got Dodge as well. We've got let me get the list up here so I make sure I don't miss anybody. Park Ridge Distributing, AJM Automotive Service, The Elbow Room, Muldoon's Menswear, Edward Jones, Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, Hannah Sellner, Agency American Family Insurance, and Gemco Surfaces. We got a few texts to get to here. We've got BJ Raji, Kenny Clark, got an Eddie Lacy pick. I'm assuming that's an answer to who was your draft crush and the team actually got on there. I believe that was a 2013 draft, if I remember off the top of my head. See, I remember stuff. Dayton Jones was the first pick on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember stupid
Went
crap.
on to be, I think he's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Dayton? Yeah, no. Eddie Lacy did have a really good rookie year. It's just
he did.
Rookie of the year out there too. So I saw some nuggets about that too. It was really kind of even, I think. You also have to wonder too, that was the year Rodgers got hurt and missed a lot of time. Eddie Lacy, definitely big help that they drafted Eddie Lacy for that year with Rodgers missing time too. So what else do we got here? We've got Texter. I know you did your mock yesterday. I may have missed it, but who was your first running back being drafted, and what team drafts that running back? Oh, I didn't do that that far. I did first round, but I don't have a running back going in the first round. So
the kid from Tennessee, I wouldn't mind the Packers getting him. He's
the one I was telling you about a little bit.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
Fastest back in the draft.
That's the kid.
Jalen Wright.
There you go. That's the kid that I like to see the Packers get. That would be my.
Jonathan Brooks is probably going to be the first running back from Texas. Brooks from Texas.
Yeah, I think he is. But if the Packers were going to take one, I'd like to see him take that kid from Tennessee that can run out from under his pads.
I did see somebody say today that the Cowboys are potentially eyeing Jonathan Brooks. Maybe not for their first round pick, but potentially early second round if they have moved back and such. So
Cowboys are a running back kind of team. They like running backs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's probably Brooks from Texas is going to be the first running back taken. I would imagine probably second round, early second round at that, unless somebody gets desperate and wants to jump up there. But I honestly, I don't think I've seen one mock draft that had a running back in the first round.
I don't think I've heard of any either.
So that's where I'm really curious to see where Braylon Allen goes in this thing too. I'm really curious.
What they expect he can do in a passing game. Can he pass block? Can he, catch the screen pass? Can he go downfield? That's going to be a lot of expectations on these running backs now too, not just how they run the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what else do we got over here? We've got somebody maybe the question turned into who was your favorite Packers pick, because we got a Jordy Nelson one too. I don't know if anybody, or maybe they were just really high on Jordy Nelson.
I never go into the draft unless you're Chicago. Team that gets the first pick or the first 5 picks. Because when you get down where the Packers have been traditionally, you don't know. You got a wish list, but a wish list isn't going to fall to 25.
This is also the time I'm waiting for more of these to pop today to see if there's gonna be some news story that comes out for one of these players that's going to drop them down a board. We see it once in a while, right? And this isn't really a story. He's still going to get drafted. But this was from ESPN. One of their insiders said that apparently a scout said that the fact that Caleb Williams played under Lincoln Riley is a red flag. Lincoln Riley, the head coach at UC, a long time, or over there at Oklahoma a little bit too. So I don't know. I mean,
what's a red flag about that?
apparently not high on Lincoln Riley and the offensive system and such. So Lincoln Riley was talked about for an NFL job for a couple times.
Oh, I know it. What do you think the odds are that the Bears will not take Caleb Williams first?
0.
Yeah.
0. Yeah, he's going to be number one. So I'm more curious to hear Bears fans what they want to do with their second one. Do you want another wideout when you already got DJ Moore and you traded for Keenan Allen in the offseason, or do you want an offensive lineman or more defensive help? I'm curious to see. This is such – and like somebody Kevin Seifert, who covers the Vikings for ESPN, he made a good point. He tweeted out just how important this is for the Vikings, this draft. Quarterbacks determine jobs for a lot of people, general managers and coaches, right?
Absolutely.
And with this draft, if they trade up and they mortgage a lot, they better hit on this quarterback if they do that. It could be their jobs.
Oh, no question about it. And it is a crapshoot for most of these quarterbacks. I mean, how many have been drafted number one? That, Johnny Manziel and
Jamarcus Russell
and who's with Tampa Bay now?
Baker Mayfield.
They're not difference makers. They're playing in the league, but they're not the kind of guys that, as they turn out, be the number one overall pick in the draft.
Can you just imagine that? Think that, you're a general manager or a coach, and you're with the Vikings right now. Your decision right now is like, this is our job. I mean, Goody had it too with Jordan Love, right? That was rolling the dice and taking a gamble there. You have to take gambles like this, but boy, I would be on pins and needles to mortgage a big time trade to go up there and hopefully get the quarterback you want. And maybe I would just say, if you're the Vikings and you're not sold on JJ McCarthy, I don't know if I'd trade my 2 picks to go up there and get him.
Well, that's the same thing that I think about too. I mean, when the guy was with Kansas City, director of college scouting, told him Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback we want. None of these other guys. And Patrick Mahomes was what, 3rd, 4th, 5th quarterback drafted in that draft or something like that. And now that guy is, where is he? He's a general manager someplace else, in one of these teams that really needs help. So it'll be interesting to see, did he get lucky evaluating Patrick Mahomes that high, or does he really know his stuff in these quarterbacks and he's going to find another one I don't know if he's in Washington now or where he's at, but can he find another one, or did you just get lucky on Patrick Mahomes? Because, Matthew Stafford, he was number one, John Elway, there have been a lot of them that have lived up to the number one pick in the draft, no question about it, but there have been a lot of other ones that haven't.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a crapshoot. I don't know if you'd say it's 50-50. You'd think these guys have more talent to be 50-50. He's going to be a great quarterback. You hope the odds are better than that for the team that drafts him, but in many cases they're not.
I think a lot of it, though, too, is dependent on the situation those guys go into.
Absolutely.
That's where I look at, like, New England. They need a lot of help right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a quarterback drafted in New England.
Yeah, I mean, because are you set up for success? And if you are a quarterback, if I'm New England, I'm not playing the guy this year. And, kind of look at Zach Will, like, was he set up for success initially? I don't know. I feel bad for a guy like Trey Lance, who's stuck behind Dak Prescott in Dallas right now,
Yeah, he never got a chance in San Francisco, I don't think.
Played a couple games and then got hurt, and then they ship him off.
Yep.
But, you look at a lot of those quarterbacks, too. Sam Darnold, for crying out loud, was drafted in, but he went to a really bad Jets situation. You kind of wonder, not every quarterback is like an Alex Smith that gets to hang around a little bit. And then finally, when Harbaugh comes to the 49ers, he starts to have a little success. Not everybody's like Baker Mayfield, who, he had a decent rookie year. Then he kind of fell off, and then he gets traded to Carolina. Poo-poo over there, goes to the Rams for like a couple games. Then he's in a quarterback battle this offseason or the prior offseason to get a starting job with Tampa. Gets it, has a good year. Then he gets a huge payday. That's not the norm. Not a lot of guys get as many opportunities.
He got into a situation with the Tampa Bay where they had an awfully good defense.
Right, yeah. But that's, again, not a lot of people have that opportunity like Baker has over there. So, I don't know.
And I don't know how limited J.J. McCarthy is. I don't know his upside. Playing with Michigan, that's pretty conservative offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what his upside is. I really don't. So to me, J.J. McCarthy is probably among all the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks being discussed is the most unknown. Doesn't mean he won't be great, but at this point in time, to me, he's the most unknown talent in the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft.
I think, to me too, for New England, what the big unknown is, and if you read a lot of the insiders out there, analysts, they're saying it's going to be a quarterback. Like everybody assumes that New England's going to trade out, but it sounds like it's going to be a quarterback. They're going to stay there. I wonder how much, like Elliot Wolf is the de facto general manager right now. He's not officially the guy,
Mm-hmm.
but you're hearing that now there's more voices in it, like ownership and Robert Kraft's son's getting involved. And now you kind of wonder, like, I personally feel like, I don't know, this is just my gut. I feel like Elliott would be open to trading and getting more picks. I mean, he's Ron Wolf, worked under Ted Thompson and all that. I feel like he'd be, hey, if I get an opportunity to get 2 first-rounders this year and maybe some more, I'd want to take that.
I would.
But I feel like if ownership and the kids, the owner's son's getting involved, that's where they get enamored with a quarterback and like, oh, let's get this guy. And, that's where it gets dangerous, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how much the owner's in there because I saw him sitting in the front row of the Celtics game last night, Robert Kraft. So he wasn't in a skull session last night.
No, it's his son that's the president
Yeah.
that's getting involved in this too. So that's where I get nervous with those.
Anytime you're dealing with, human beings, it's just the way it is. You don't know what their emotional status is going to be, how they're going to accept that extra level of competition, which is a lot different than college. It's the same thing. How many high school kids have been stars in high school? They get into college and they're not very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's that next level. Can they handle that next level?
Yep.
Very competitive at the level they're at because they're comfortable. But now they're going into that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why J.J. McCarthy, he's an unknown to me as far as I think he's got a good enough arm. But as far as the rest of his game, I'd hesitate taking him at number 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know Daniel Jeremiah said that the people he talked to, apparently New England's approach to free agents this offseason was, we're going to sign a veteran quarterback, $8-10 million, and then draft one at number 3 and develop them. And he said they checked box number 1 by bringing in Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
He said there has been no other reason why they wouldn't follow that plan that they told everybody they were doing this offseason. So
yeah, because I think maybe the Kraft family and the rest of them saw that, by having all their eggs in Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick's basket, bringing in Mac Jones wasn't ready. I felt sorry for him because I think he was more a victim of circumstances.
That's
than
another
his own
example
ability.
too. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's take a break, and we've got some picks and predicts, which we've got a few involved with the Brewers game coming up in just a couple of hours. So our final break, and we'll be back to wrap up things. Some more bold predictions coming up after these quick words. Time for some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Looking for somewhere to maybe catch the game or watch some of the picks come through. Head on over to the Elbow Room located right next to the Banbury Place in Eau Claire. All right. Easy.
Good thing to talk about the Elbow Room, the way the Brewer pitching staff is suffering with
There you
elbows
go.
and
Look at
everything
that.
else. There you go, picking that up.
Nice. Start off easy. Brewers win today or no?
Who's pitching?
Freddie Peralta.
Yes.
Okay. I will say yes, too. I think they split the series. If it was going to be a bullpen one of the things I was going to ask you is like how many innings does the initial opener go out there over under? Like what's the line at 3.5 or 3 1/3? I should say
3 1/3.
3 1/3 over there. So
4, something like that.
Yeah. So
for Freddie, I think the over under has got to be 6.
Yeah. Right.
6 plus.
They really need him to go.
Yep, they do
a little bit there. Do the Twins complete the 4-game sweep of the White Sox today?
I think so. The poor White Sox are hurting for certain.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. How many runs do the Brewers score today?
5.
I'll go 4. Do a little Price is Right action there.
All right,
I'll go 4. We do have some NBA games tonight too. No Bucks or no T-Wolves either, but Lakers Nuggets.
Nuggets. I don't care if they're playing on the moon. The Nuggets are going to beat the Lakers, unless I hate to say this, unless the officials play a part and want to keep that series going.
After the comments from LeBron calling out the officials too, a little conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Let's go the Knicks at Philly.
That's going to be that could be a bloodbath. They might need 5 officials to do that game because it's going to be brutal. That if you're not a man, you don't want to suit up for that game. And I'm going to take Philly just because they're coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid's upset. Fans, and fans in Philadelphia, they're unlike any others. They're brutal. I can't imagine. They must give these officials that are going to referee this game a bonus because it is, they're going to have bodyguards to get in and out of there.
Yeah.
Even if Philadelphia wins, they're going to have to do that.
Line's actually Philly at 5.5. So
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Lakers are favored by 1.5, and remember these teams are at home too. So
the
other one is Cleveland at Orlando. Orlando's favored by 2.5. All the road teams are 2-0 in this one because they started off at home. So.
And who cares about Cleveland and Orlando? Who's watching that?
My 10-year-old self would be.
Yeah, but you're not your 10-year-old self anymore.
Hudson is.
But with
he's at practice.
But with all the things in the news about these other teams, about Dallas and LA, about Philadelphia, New York, and that bloodbath, and the other teams, it's kind of like, oh, they're still in it. To me, Cleveland.
Winner of this will probably have to play Boston then. So,
yep.
Which one would give Boston more fits? Doesn't matter. Probably
I don't think either one of them are going to bother Boston.
Would Miami give more fits to Boston than either one of these teams?
I think so.
Even without Jimmy?
Even without Jimmy. Jimmy done for the series?
It sounds like they said several weeks. So.
What's he?
MCL issue with his knee.
That's not good.
But hey, if they hit threes like that might have to be the game plan for the Heat going forward, right? Shoot as many threes and hopefully.
But it's not going to help them, I don't think.
So.
Boston's too tough. They won't play like that again.
They do give up a lot of threes. They did all season, but you're counting on a lot for Miami to make but they got some good ones though. I don't know.
But Boston usually makes a lot of threes too.
Yeah. So, okay. I think we're about the same on picks over there too. So you kind of already did. We did this one in receiver defer, but I think Packers move up 4 spots tonight. Make a trade. That's my prediction. They make a trade.
And I can't say yes, no, or otherwise.
It's a bold prediction.
It's a bold prediction. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think they're going to stay where they're at because I think Cooper DeJean is going to be gone. If that's the speculation out there, but what Gutekunst is thinking, we don't know. But if that's the way it is, and DeJean from Iowa is gone, I think he'll be content to stay where he's at.
Mm-hmm. I think they move up 4. I'm going to go.
What are they going to give up to go up 4?
Probably a 3rd rounder. Move up 4 spots. Let's give up a 3rd rounder and do that.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to place value on these picks. For me,
we could do the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart if you want.
Oh yeah, that deep, but that's move up 4 spots and give up a third and get a third round for Miami. I don't know if that equates in my mind.
Let me
And
see.
Miami takes their first round pick plus a third rounder.
Yeah, you're flopping. You're flopping picks around. Let me see if I can do the quick math here for you. If that math would even out here. Where Green Bay's got third round coming up here. Let's say the 91. That's 136 points. So you're talking about 21,800. Oh, maybe not even a third rounder. It might be a fourth rounder. If we do this draft chart that I'm looking at. So maybe it doesn't even cost third. It might be a fourth rounder.
No, then I think it'd be worth exploring.
Yeah. Looking at that. Okay, it might be a little bit cheaper. 46. Okay. All right. Fourth rounder, throw that in there. So why not? If it costs a fourth rounder, go for it. Then you keep all your day 2 picks on there too. So
yeah, I know that wouldn't be a
trade
bad,
all your day 3 picks because I've got to go to baseball. So that way I don't have to worry about Saturday. They scheduled baseball.
I'll watch it on my device. So
can you text me then updates?
I can text you updates. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, and give me some scouting reports in case I actually
Absolutely.
don't know that player or not. Trade all 5, 6, 7. Who schedules baseball on?
We've got some good linemen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
6th round.
Yeah, I know. Dontavian Wicks was a 5th rounder last year.
Yep, there you go.
Zach Tom might have been a 4th rounder. I can't remember. But
a lot of good players have come down there, including Mr. Irrelevant every once in a while.
Brock Purdy. Right?
Yep.
That's going to be. I don't know if this is going to be a thing for the next couple of years, but how many more people now are going to pay attention to Mr. Irrelevant because of Brock Purdy?
I would imagine more all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually at the draft, they get some notoriety after that.
Well, they do like a jersey thing,
Yeah,
that. But I mean, I almost feel like, do you want that title? It feels like it's kind of, it's almost a knock at some point. Like,
it is in the beginning, but
yeah.
Purdy's made it a thing.
Can we rename it the Purdy pick? If he goes and wins an MVP or a Super Bowl, can you call it the Purdy pick?
I'm sure some people would be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
instead of Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Purdy.
Over under 30 minutes that you'll watch the draft tonight.
Over.
Oh, bull. I'll say under.
Over. You're only going to watch it less than 30 minutes?
Not me. I'm talking you.
Oh, no. I'll be watching it.
For more than 30 minutes total?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to quiz you then tomorrow.
Absolutely.
What happened at this pick and that pick? I'm going to quiz you. See if you were paying attention.
I'm anxious to see how these quarterbacks fall.
Yeah.
Through the Vikings and what the Vikings are going to do. That's, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the upper part of this draft this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of teams, whether they say they're going to do it or not, are coveting quarterbacks.
You're going to be able to stay up for the Packers pick?
That's a stretch.
If they don't trade up?
Yeah. Oh, boy. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I usually do that. I usually get up about 1 o'clock for a walk around the house and a quick stop in the other room, and then I turn on Sports Center, and then if I get lucky, I'll see the draft or see the Brewers score or something like that. But no, I don't think I'll be up for the Packers.
That's the downfall.
Unless
they trade up.
Trade up.
Yeah. Unless they trade up.
Where's
that line for you? Probably like 15. They'd have to.
I'm pushing between 15 and 20.
Yeah.
Unless I really get a charge of energy, but I don't know where I'd get it.
I'm trying to wonder how I should prepare for tomorrow. It's either going to go really good or there's going to be a lot of upset fans. I don't know if there's going to be a middle ground.
I don't know how you can be upset. You don't know if these guys are going to be any good or not. I mean, how many guys are in the Hall of Fame that were drafted 3rd round down?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just the way it is. You give these guys a chance. They're young men, and like you said earlier, a lot of it's going to depend on the system they go to.
Mm-hmm.
If they go to a defensive player goes to a system that fits their style, that's why I'm hoping that this new coach will fit the style of the players rather than his system. Same argument again against Guard when he recruits basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
You got to play zone against somebody. You got to be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this defensive coordinator for the Packers is he talks like he's going to be adaptable to the talent he's got. Van Ness and Kenny Clark and the rest of these guys. So
Just the front office and the
Rashad
coaches on the
Gary.
same page too. Like
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
not like I feel like this, and not to pile on Uncle Ted, but drafting defensive ends and trying to force them to play outside linebacker, sort of, was Nick Perry suited to play outside linebacker? I don't know.
I don't know. And
he was a defensive end at USC.
yeah,
so.
and Ted Thompson got a lot of credit. He was in the old Ron Wolf family. Well, I don't think he drafted near as good as Ron Wolf over the years.
I think Ted was a lot better in the middle rounds.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Third round down, he picked some really good players.
Mm-hmm.
I think he missed on a lot of
on some of the first ones. Yeah. Kind of like Dayton Jones. Was he suited for that style? You can make the arguments over there. Like Nick Collins was a great pick by him, second rounder.
Yep.
Injury just cut that one short.
Yep.
Unfortunately, other ones out there too.
And but I'll bet if you go through every general manager, there's no general manager that has a perfect record by any means. And I don't know what the standard is. If you're, 70% of your draft picks end up playing multiple years, and thing is, a lot of these draft picks, they don't sign a second contract with the same team.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because this was actually up yesterday. This was ESPN content producer Paul Hembo calculated the percentage of first-round picks that, quote, hit or miss based upon whether that player signed a second contract with the team that drafted them. You want to know the top three?
Yeah.
It's all offensive line positions: center, offensive tackle, and guard. Center, by far, hit rate 92%. Offensive tackle is 59%. That second, guard, was 50%. Want to know the lowest? Want to take a guess?
Wide receiver?
Bingo. Wide receiver, 27%. Had the lowest one over there.
Well, they've got offensive linemen are kind of like, grunts in the Army. They're carrying the water. They're doing the work. The wide receivers are like, the officers with the shiny brass and everything. They're a lot of show, a lot of go, but a lot more show than the offensive linemen have.
Quarterback was close to 50. They were at 46% on there. So, all right.
Go Pack.
There you go. DP and the Danettes, they're up next.
I'm going to have to borrow that jacket from you sometime.
It says it's a 44 long, but it's a little bit bigger than a 44 long.
Ooh, that'll fit me.
So, all right, DP and the Danettes are up next. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to break it all down. Talk to you then.